Hello traders, BA here, and this is this week's weekly perspective for October 29th, 2017. A review of this week's action in stocks, penny stocks, stock market indices, futures, and Forex markets, brought to you by your friendly neighborhood traders at tradingtopsandbottoms.com. Let's get started here. All right, here are our objectives. Look at some long-term trends in the market, any leading sectors, look at the market's environment, and cultivate any ideas for the next week. Let's start with a recap of last week's daily T&B report. So our daily T&B report's the end-of-day service where we're just scanning for tops and bottoms and trading ideas and all the different markets that trade, anything with a symbol. So we're let's skip right on down to our positions, and we'll start with bond futures. We're still in a very good bond future trade. We've been short from about 157.20 to 158 where we're buying puts. We got short futures at 153.17. Took half off at our profit target. We're still in the trade, so that one's working out nicely. GE, we entered that one on 10.17 with a bullish options trade. We're down just a little bit in that thing, even though GE has just tanked miserably. Looks like it wants to go out of business, but it's a dog of the Dow entry. So, so my bet is that it's going to gain ground on the S&P at some point in time here. We're penny stock here, long at 67, still in the trade. We're down about a penny or two in this thing. GAHC, long at 18, still in the trade, down slightly. Bitcoin, or BTCS, penny stock, 16 cents, still in trade, down slightly. Let's see, BIOA, long at 67, still in the trade, down slightly. All these trades together we're down on. We're just down really very small amount in these things. So PN, we were in at 123, half off at the profit target, still in the trade. AKS, long at 587, half off and still in the trade. We closed this one out, took half off at our profit target, half off at break even. MRTX, I should have coded that one. Yeah, we closed that one out. MRTX, half off at profit target, half off at break even. IBM trade, half off at our profit target. We still have a very profitable trade intact. I'll try to remember to show you the chart a little bit later on. Now that it's starting to form a bottom in its new move up, we'll be looking to raise our profit target, or a stop loss, not a stop loss, but our stop out in that trade. So we've got really nice profit built in this one right here. Big trade this week for us was sorry guys, big trade for us this week was UNP. Let me see if I can just pull that chart up for you right quick here. Let's take a look at UNP. Let's go to a daily time chart so I can show you what we were looking at. We were long right here this day. The reason I got long in here on the 20th October was somebody, I don't know who, I'll just call them they, just like they and them always exist. They came in and swept the call options, not just in UNP, but they swept all of the railroads. And what sweeping means is somebody comes in and just buys everything that's available in one fell swoop. Now normally I don't get too excited when I see a stock with their options getting swept, but I do when they come in and sweep all of the railroads, the calls. So that led me to believe that we had some potential upside. So I took an option trade, gave it 3 months to run. Not sure what they were sweeping, but I entered my trade where they swept all the options at. Reindeer games taking effect, try to run the market down, and then we gap back up. So we're still in a very profitable trade here in UNP. We bought the think at the time there's 60, somewhere between 60 and 70 delta options for on the call side. So anyway, I just want to give you a quick look at why I got into that trade. It's a little bit different than most. You don't see this very often, but when I do see somebody sweeping an industry or a market sector, there's typically something going on that the average Joe just doesn't know about. So got into DPW. I call that one's really a break even right now. So I got into that trade on Friday afternoon. So that's kind of what we did last week in the daily T&B report. Let's take a look at the major markets. Holy guys, talk about it later, but boy did we have a rip-roaring update Friday. So right now this 3-month look has the Dow leading the pack. Tightly clustered group with small caps, tech, oil, and S&P. And then, hovering right around break even for the last 3 months is gold and bonds. And what I really want you to take a look at in this chart right here is the blue line is oil. This line here is gold. I should be making crude the black line and gold that gold line right there, so it's a little bit easier and the colors actually make sense. Black line's the S&P because it's my anchor symbol to compare everything off of. But just look at the extremes: crude low, gold high. Crude low, gold high. But notice how gold tends to run after when crude starts making its move up. Gold tends to run just a little bit before it sells off. So same thing happened here. We had crude at a low, gold at a high. Now crude's crossed back, running higher, gold's at a low. So you can see those two are working in opposite extremes right there. The other thing I want to mention to this chart is just look at, of course we know that's gold, but look at the bonds, the green line there. You can see that those things, you can see the gold market here, bond market green. These things have just been following each other for a very long time now. I mean, you can just see the trace of those things. I've mentioned it months and months ago that gold and bonds have been trading very, very closely together, and this is just a comparison. I know it's kind of hard to pick out in this chart, but because we have so many lines there, but you can see they're neck and neck right now for 3 months. Hardly any difference whatsoever in them. Gold moved up. I think bonds are moving with gold. I didn't see a reason for bonds to move up the way it did Friday. Gold pinged a support level to the penny and rallied hard, and gold and bonds went right with it. So anyway, we'll keep a check on that. See, I'm still short bonds, but yeah, that move up Friday might have been the move to end that down move. I'm looking for 147 in the bond futures to get out. We'll see if we make it. Let's see. Let's take a look at commodities and ag. So the agribusiness is still just leading in a very smooth, efficient manner. Doesn't have very many jags to it, up and down jags. But in this right here, we're still looking at corn and coffee as our two potential plays. Coffee really looks close right now, so any move above this little peak right here, and I will be in long to the long side. Keep waiting, keep setting up. Not going to make a move until it tips its hand. So, but that's what we're looking at. Corn's just tracing out a bottom here. I'm waiting to see what kind of move it makes, down in these areas. FANG stocks, oh my gosh. In a normal market, Friday's action, I would have shorted those Amazon and Google with both fists, but yeah, we're not in a normal market. We've mentioned that before. Just unbelievable moves, and what was so unbelievable about it was Thursday after the market closed, and Amazon and Google rallied hard. The NASDAQ rallied too, and then after hours in the overnight session, the actual NASDAQ was actually down on the night. I kept watching it and was like, it just doesn't make sense. Well, it made sense the next day. I mean, we had a 140-some point up move in the NASDAQ, just one of the biggest moves it's had in a very, very long time. Well, let's look at some of the facts, tidbits of info that come out of last week's move. Amazon made a huge blast up with Google, what we just mentioned. That move up in Amazon made their CEO the richest man in America, I think, reportedly somewhere around $90 billion net worth. He added $61.7 billion in value in one day. FedEx is valued at 61.8. Duke Energy is valued at 61.6, just to put that move in perspective. So, it created another company size element just in one overnight move. Only the market can decide if it's worth that or not, so only time will tell. But the 3-month comparison, NVIDIA still rules the roost. Monthly charts on these babies are mind-blowing. Let's take a couple of peeks at these things just to put these moves in perspective. Yeah, nothing flaky about these moves, guys. I mean, everything looks a-okay. Holy cow! This is just back from 2012. 5 years. Unbelievable. Let's take a look at Google. Another incredible move up. Facebook. Yeah, it's hardly a down blip on the monthly charts on these things from 2012. So that was the last time we really had, I think, a scare in the markets, was that political and the budgetary concerns. And yeah, we've done nothing but just rocket higher on a monthly basis, the whole time. Apple, just these things are just, Apple really looks like a normal market would look going up. NVIDIA looks just, well, unbelievable, unrelenting to the upside. Let's take a look at Netflix. Another incredible move up, just like NVIDIA. Tesla, another, Tesla makes huge runs up and then looks like tends to consolidate for a while. So there we had about 2 years worth of consolidation for Tesla before it made its breathtaking ascent up. So hey, these monthly charts are just unbelievable to take a look at, guys. I mean, you're part of it and you just kick yourself by just not putting everything in long 2012. You'd like to be able to go back and do that in a portfolio margin account, 6 times whatever you dump in. Just put it in to like an NVIDIA. Wake up 5 years later, multi-gazillionaire. So, but that's not how life works. So in these the FANG Plus stocks, Priceline Tesla is worth bearing watch. So I'm keeping a close eye on those two for potential bottom moves up. Stock market takeaways. Hey, what can you say? Record high this week across the board. Friday recorded 3 standard deviation moves in the NASDAQ, Amazon, Google. 3 standard deviations, less than 3% chance of that specific event occurring. Last year, 2016, was what I dubbed the year of 3 standard deviation moves in the stock market, and it just continues. It's, what can you say? This is a never before seen market environment. The SPX is approaching a projected resistance level at 26.14. Let me pop in right quick and we'll take a look at that resistance level for SPX. You can see I have it plotted up here. So we'll see if it holds up there and turns around, or whether it cuts right through it, just like it has every other resistance level for the past 18 months, and moves higher. So we'll see. One time framing in the SPX monthly chart still in effect, and this is what I want to make sure that you see in the one time framing. Okay, so the low intact, low intact, low, low, low. There's hasn't been a month yet that has taken out a prior month's low. This was the last time it happened, October of last year. This has never happened before. We've never had a run in the stock market where we haven't at least taken a low out. So, and this is how significant it is. It's such a common occurrence, but it's so uncommon now. I heard a trader who's been trading, who's made tens of millions of dollars in the market the other day, make a quip about the one time framing effect, and that he's like, well, even to go down and take out this month's low, the stock market would have to go down 60 points. The S&P would have to go down 60 points. People are talking like that is such a far-fetched notion that the stock market could ever go down 60 points. I'm telling you guys, when the S&P finally goes down, I mean, I see 70 to 85 handles in one day in this thing. When the guy or the entity that's keeping this thing propped the way it is right now, when he decides to leave the room, take his chips off, yeah, there won't be any bids for quite a ways down. So just make sure you understand that, you know, we're in a once-in-a-lifetime for the stock market, not our lifetime, but for the stock market, dating back 150 years, events that we've never seen before. So yeah, when she goes down, she's going to go down hard, but hey, enjoy it while it runs up. Anyway, close to resistance, one time frame is still in effect. At some point in time, we're going to take out a monthly low. It's going to scare everybody because nobody's seen it in a while. It seems like after 3 or 4 months, everyone just seems to forget everything. Couple of new things coming out. President Trump's repatriation tax break plan could boost, you know, up to 10 tech stocks and a few other non-techs. If you want a list of those stocks, just send me an email and I'll push those out to you. Amazon pushing forward with moving into healthcare by providing pharmaceutical distribution, online ordering for pharmacy products. So that it's probably why some of the drug stocks right now are taking a little pullback, trying to digest this information. And this year's key theme has been and will be, until another year rolls around, is just a relentless move higher, record highs every week, with just a handful of stocks. So there's bear markets all over the place in the stock market. And you know, just a fraction of the stocks pushing the indexes up. So anyway, common theme. Common themes, no matter how logical they are, they just tend to just last until they don't, and then something else picks up. Hey, VIX monthly bars, we're back down again, just hunkered down on that, you know, 9 level, you know, somewhere thereabouts. So that's seems to be where we're operating from. No matter how much higher the stock market goes, the VIX doesn't seem to want to push any lower than the 8.7 that we registered, or 8.8 that we registered earlier this year. I talked about, I felt, this was probably 8 months or so ago, I felt like the VIX would hit 8s before this thing turned around. I thought it would be next year, but it hit it earlier this year. So we're right on track. Weed stocks, added a few more weed stocks. Got a couple of trade setups we'll probably take action on this week. Hey, the reason I'm I've keep talking about why these things are fascinating me. And, hey, there's a potential maybe out there for more states to legalize this thing. Maybe Canada. So if that happens, these things could just shoot to the moon. That's why I keep watching them. They keep looking like they want to put bottoms in on some of these penny stocks. So that intrigues me, the bottom formation that these things are carving out. So that's why I like watching them. So anyway, I'll put out some trades in the daily TNB report coming up this week. Dogs of the Dow, we'll cover year-to-date comparison in another month. 3-month comparison, here we are. So most are clustered for 3 months above the zero line. GE just looks horrible. I got in to GE just right, I think right in here where I have my my cursor, my crosshair. That's what this vertical line is, my crosshair that was captured in the snapshot. So yeah, we'll wait. If it carves out a bottom right there, I'll add to my bullish long position. I've given myself plenty of time because even if I'm initially wrong, I still believe that this is GE will make up ground on the S&Ps. So I just want to be there to capture that whenever it does. Our IBM position is just doing marvelously. Forex pairs. Dollar is strong against everything that I'm looking at, all the majors anyway. So that's kind of changed how I plot these on the comparison chart. So these that are all streaming up are the US dollar against the Japanese yen, US dollar against the Canadian loonie, and then we've got the British pound against the dollar, euro against the dollar, and Australian dollar against the US dollar. So so dollar is stronger in all those, against all those pairs right there. Don't have any really good trades. Have probably one setup I'm looking at in currency pairs, unless something strange happens next week, and they always do. So, but going into the week, one trade I'm looking at. Before we get to the summary, a couple more monthly charts I want to take a look at here. Let's just show you on a monthly basis. Let's take a look at some of the ag products. So corn interests me. This is why on a monthly time frame it looks like it's trying to form a base to move off of. If it moves off of a base like this, corn will get some legs without a doubt. Wheat, same thing. Not as bullish on wheat right now unless we would get a breakout, say above this monthly bar right here. Then I would change and get bullish on wheat. Let's see, soybeans. We're trying to, that trade did not enter, but 988, I'm going to look at that. That's probably going to be a lower entry for next week. We're probably going to be looking somewhere right around there to try to get long, and that's probably going to be in the 980 area, I would say, probably a little bit lower. Yeah, so I like the fact that we've got a huge wedge building up right here, and I would like to think it's going to go higher based off of this. Never know until you place the trade. So but anyway, that's soybeans, wheat, and corn. Now let's take a look at some of the energy plays. Let's look at nat gas for a second here. Nat gas to me looks like it wants to go higher from here. Again, no idea. That's just an opinion. I have no play, no intentions to play unless it would come in here and take out this monthly high. And then I would change, and that would be my signal to play from the long side from a monthly chart. Let's take a look at gasoline. I could go either way with gasoline right here. It's inching higher on the monthly time frame. Not the formation I like to see, but anyway, it is moving higher. Let's take a look at heating oil. Now heating oil, I like this. This right here, this pattern moving down, I never know what it's going to do until it makes its move. It made its move above this bar here, and that's when you want to start looking at long trades only. Going back to your daily setups and looking at long trades. So we can see heating oil creeping higher as we get into the winter months. Let's take a look at crude. Okay, you'll notice gasoline, that's that pattern that I wasn't too crazy about in gasoline. It hasn't formed the rest of it out yet. So crude formed it out, took the move down, and that break above that bar right there kind of said, hey, you know what, it could possibly we could go higher from here. This month it didn't come close to that low, and then we just kept going higher. So yeah, we had a trade there at 51.78 to get in for a short-term trade. That one worked out good. I just never removed that drawing there. But no matter how you look at this, this is a bullish trade right here in crude. Let's look at the USO, the ETF, right quick. So same thing, a higher low here. Really get bullish on crude, really get bullish on a breakout above this monthly high right there. So that's a huge move up from here in crude market, 20%, guys. So, but you can see crude has a tendency to make large moves. All right, just wanted to show you a couple of charts here. One more. Let's take a look at cattle. Let's see what cattle says. Bullish move in cattle. I would say make long trades only. Excuse me, in cattle. If you do any short trades, make sure they're very short in duration. If you're an intraday trader, it doesn't matter which way you trade. If you're trading, to hold for a couple of days to a week, yeah, you want to make sure your trades are oriented to the long side. Excuse me. Alright, let's go down to our summary and close this week's edition out. No change from last week's stock market. Just stay away from the indices, guys. Nothing more needs to be said. We already talked about the bond market. We're nothing much else to say there. We're in the short, two profitable short trades. We'll keep a close monitor. We had a large move up Friday with the stock market making a large move up. Doesn't make sense, but yeah, we'll see. Commodity markets, coffee and corn still in play. Still watching those. Yeah, for FANG stocks, for 2 weeks I kept saying that Amazon was our only play, and did I get long based on what I was seeing? Nope. Had plenty of other good trades, but I failed to move into Amazon. So I overlooked that and really didn't even give the earnings any consideration. So dogs of the Dow, no other trade setups unless I add to my GE position. Nothing on winning sectors until we get some type of pullback. Forex pairs, looking at one trigger this week, which I'll address in the daily TNB report. Hey, if you want to get in contact with us, our website's here, email's here. You want to subscribe to the daily TNB report, just click on this, put this into your browser. Hey, that is a wrap for this week's weekly perspective. Hope you have a really good trading week. This is BA signing out.